Hey guys, so today I wanted to tackle the infamous INFJ door slam. For those of you who don't know what the INFJ door slam is, it's basically when an INFJ decides to completely remove someone from their lives. And it's almost like a door slamming them in their face because it's completely, the ties have been completely cut off. So anybody that is an INFJ or knows INFJs personally have probably witnessed or have done the INFJ door slam at some point. And as you can tell, little Flair is in the background. She is adorable. She's so cute. So basically, the reason why people are door slammed by INFJs, as you can tell by various articles on the internet, typically has to do with someone that has exhibited a certain behavior and that the INFJ deems as unhealthy or wrong in some way. And typically it is directed towards the INFJ. So this behavior continues, and the INFJ keeps on having a mental note of that behavior. And maybe they even saw it in the very beginning and they chose to ignore it because they wanted to see the best in that person. So again, it's a behavior that has a pattern to it. It's not necessarily something that just happens immediately, unless someone is like a murderer or something like that, where it's like, all right, so this person needs to be removed immediately. But like I said, it's typically with people that the INFJ has gotten close to, and it is more of a pattern behavior rather than just a one-time thing. So as someone who has door slammed in the past, even before I knew what a door slam was, there are different reasons why I have door slammed. When I was younger, I have had friends, one friend in particular, that used to lie all the time. We were very, very close, but this individual would lie almost constantly, and it got to the point where the lies were just so stupid that it was just so, like, we were so close that this person could have told me the truth and I wouldn't have judged them, but they continued to lie and lie and lie and lie and lie, among other things and different other behaviors, that I eventually cut off that friendship. And when I got older, there were instances in high school where I was friends with certain people, and it wasn't necessarily that they were lying, but I saw certain behaviors of narcissism, or even to the point where I questioned if they were a sociopath. And those behaviors continued on, and just there was lying involved, that I did cut those certain individuals off as well. It wasn't until college that I really dealt with so many door slams, because I'm not really going to get into this in this video, and I don't know if I ever will, but there were certain individuals that I met in college that I, going into college, had no idea would exist in college. I was told almost immediately, because of a certain individual my freshman year of college, that there are about, at the time, my university had 26,000 students, so the campus police told me that there were about 200 people that shouldn't be there. Basically, that there are certain individuals, because it is a public university, that they are allowed to attend. And I just so happened to meet one of them. So that person was door slammed, but for very, very, very good reason. But in the future, there were people that I also door slammed that it was for a very good reason, but they didn't necessarily have that criminal history in their background. And again, it's a pattern. So it's not someone just automatically doing something. And again, we want to see the best in people. And a lot of people, I know that this happens to me, and I think a lot of INFJs can relate to this, is a lot of people will look at INFJs and think, oh, they're just like this very warm presence that I can just push, and until, like, I mean, and they're not going to backlash because we don't like to deal with conflict. I've had people tell me that, I guess because of the tone of my normal voice, and the tone of my normal voice being kind of a calm, softer voice, and my presence being kind of a warm or calming presence, as other people have described, that attracts individuals that will take advantage of that. And I do know other INFJs who I am close to who have had sociopaths or people that are not the best people come into their lives and take advantage of that warmth. Because again, at least for me, and I know other INFJs, we can kind of see the writing on the wall immediately, whereas other people can't. And there's not necessarily this concrete details or evidence pointing to this person being a certain way. Like, maybe automatically I just know someone doesn't like me, or someone is maybe not the best person, and I don't necessarily have any evidence, but it's just maybe from their emotional cues or like their vibe that they are giving off. I am able to connect the dots where there may not be any connections. And so for people like my sister, who is an ISTJ, and we have completely different cognitive functions, her mind does not work anywhere near mine, she looks at my logic as like, what the heck, Emily, like, there's no evidence, like, what are you talking about? And it wasn't until a few years ago when I basically predicted certain behaviors and people's just personalities in general, not like their MBTI type, but just who they were, that my sister started to believe that I was psychic, just because there was no evidence. I'm not psychic, I don't think so, but yeah. And that's kind of off topic, but it goes in line with the INFJ door slam in the sense that we typically see the writing on the wall almost immediately with people, yet we give them so many chances because we want to see the best in people. We want people, like, I want my, like, hocus pocus, whatever you want to call it, logic to be wrong. I want my theories to be disproven. I don't want them to necessarily be proven, because I want people to be caring and honest and all of those things. But the reality of humanity is that there are individuals and people that will be a certain way. Another thing that people don't realize about INFJs is that we do exude a certain warmth and empathy towards other people. And I know with my friends, anybody that I consider to be a friend, I would do anything for them. And when someone walks in the door that's like a good friend of mine, I want to jump up and give them a hug. But, and this is not an act per se, it definitely is not, I truly care about these people. But anybody that has high FE, extroverted feeling, is able to use that versus FI. FI is very kind of, it's considered like a very authentic function in the sense that I have always admired FI because they kind of are the way they are, and that's like they will do exactly what they want to do. Whereas FE users, especially high FE users, will do things even if it isn't what they want to do. So they will present themselves in a certain way in order to appease the situation. And not for my friends, but in general, I can come off a lot more emotional than what I am, and a lot of INFJs are able to do this. But in reality, even though we exude this, on the inside, our logic is very sound and we have very cold logic, and that's because of TI. So we appear to be like these very warm and welcoming people, but on the inside, we have a very much rational and logical way of thinking. But that isn't what we want to present all the time. So that being said, I know there's like a bunch of like paths that I just kind of went down with the INFJ door slam, but I just kind of wanted to get a better sense for other people why that happens and how people tend to take advantage of the INFJ and their capacity to love people. So that being said, when I do door slam or other INFJs door slam, there is a process in which it happens, and after that person has distributed or exhibited those certain behaviors or patterns, it's when the door slam happens, it's a very clean break. It's typically a quiet one. The other individual may not even know that they were door slammed. Like, I have quietly door slammed people a lot more when I've gotten older. Before, when I was younger, or even in college, there are certain people that I wanted, even though I knew that it was time for me to cut them out of my life, I just wanted it to be, I wanted reality to be different than what it really was, and so I kind of pushed back and I may have gotten like heated or like had a conversation with that person, like trying to have a final conversation with that person, but typically after that they continue to exhibit the same behavior, and that's when I had to cut them out. But again, the silence one is just basically cutting them off and not talking to them again. But that isn't always possible. There has been many times in my life where I have, for all intents and purposes, door slammed someone emotionally, whereas before they were in my inner circle and I saw the best in them, and I wanted to give them chances and give them more chances. But once you're out of that, I and other INFJs can seem to be very cold and almost mean towards those individuals, and I have learned that that's not the best way of handling it. But I definitely have in the past where it's like, all right, so it's kind of like when you think, this just came to mind, but in Mean Girls, like when they're handing out the Valentine's or maybe it's like the Santagrams, I don't remember what it was, or it's the candy canes or something, and they're handing it out to the different people in the class, and then none for you, Gretchen Wieners. It's typically, it's like that. It's very black and white how I feel. So I will almost even ignore that person, where it's like, oh, hi, Ashley, and and Tracy and whoever else, but it's like, let's say I was mad at Maddie, or Maddie was door slammed. That person, Maddie, would be completely just ignored, or my behavior towards them would be very obvious. But like I said, I've realized that that is not the best way of dealing with it, because I do not enjoy conflict, and other INFJs do not enjoy conflict. But that being said, the way I now handle door slams is I will, if I am able to, I will completely cut them out of my life. I won't talk to them at all. I won't have any contact with them, and I will cut every single vessel. So I talked about this with my ghosting video, but let's say I was dating someone and it got to the point where, yeah, I knew that it wasn't going to work out and they were treating me like trash. I would, or at least in my mind I saw that pattern. I have completely deleted those people from every single social media, deleted their number, all of that. And when it comes to still dealing with people in person that I have door slammed, I will act almost as if that person is an acquaintance to me. Even if we have had more of a deeper relationship, I will treat them from an outsider looking in. That person will not even know that I have door slammed them because of how controlled I've become at it. It will seem as if I am friends with them, or that I still see them with a high regard, but that isn't the case. And for those of you who are close to me, you aren't in that realm anyways, but I know that certain people, especially in college, that I've had to interact with, for those people that didn't know the background, they would have thought, oh, you either don't know this person or you're like being friendly with them, and that's kind of the last resort. And for me, people can get out of the door slam. I have had people come back into my life that I have door slammed, and it's because INFJs also have a high capacity for forgiveness. And I always try to forgive, and that's typically why the door slam happens, is because we give people chances. So those people that have come back into my life that I've door slammed, I have forgiven. I may not trust them ever again, or I may not be friends with them in the same way that I have been, but they have been forgiven. Whereas other people that I've door slammed, going back to an individual my freshman year of college that was a criminal and did do some really horrible things. That's an instance where I would not let that person into my life for obvious reasons. And even though I may have forgiven them, they will not. And it's also hard for me if an individual has wronged someone that I love, whether it is a close friend or family. That person will have a very extremely hard time coming back into my life if that is the case. So, I know this video is pretty long. I think it's my longest video yet. But I hope that this video was helpful for anybody, and if anybody has, again, any video suggestions or questions for me that you want to see in other videos, please let me know in the comments below, or message me on Instagram or Snapchat or any of the other social medias. I don't really use Twitter, but yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and Just know that you are loved and that people do care about you. All right, bye.